Welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my all-time favorite historical romance books. So I believe I have 10 books here I am excited to share with you. I have recently really gotten into historical romance, and it's been super fun participating in the Romance Readathon, which is Bridgerton themed this year. So you get extra points if you read historical romances. That's been super fun. The lovely creator of the Romance Readathon is Maggie from Maggie's Books and Stuff. I will have her announcement video and her channel linked down below in the description if you want to join. It's never too late, and it's going to be running all month long in August. If you like romance books, historical romance books, make sure to stick around. So most of these are just straight up historical romance, and 2 of these are fantasy romance. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with the historical romance and then stick around to the end if you want to check out what I'm recommending for historical fantasy romance. Before I forget, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure to comment down below and let me know what your favorite historical romance book is, or if you don't like historical romance, what your favorite romance book is. Also, let me know what team you are on for the readathon. I'm co-hosting the Wallflower team, and so obviously I think the Wallflower team is the best team to join, but all are welcome here. So let's just go ahead and get into this list. The first book I'm going to talk about is Romancing the Dupe by Tessa Dare. This is the first book in the Castles Ever After series. I've read the first 2 books in this series, and I loved both of them. This is, like I said, the first one, and it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I adored it. Tessa Dare just has this way of bringing so much humor into her books, and they're just tons of fun. And this one was especially fun. I think it might be my favorite Tessa Dare book. Yeah, I think it's probably my favorite Tessa Dare book I've ever read. And this one is cool because it's got some gothic vibes too. Our heroine is down on her luck. Her father's passed away and not really left her anything, but it turns out some long lost godfather has left her some sort of inheritance, and she is to travel to this kind of like abandoned castle to find out what her inheritance is, and in the process meets this duke who is totally grumpy, just not here for it, and she is definitely a sunshine, and they have this romance, and it's amazing. I loved it. I loved so many of the tropes in this book. I also really enjoyed some of the cast of characters, like the side characters. There's this roaming band of like cosplayers that are super hilarious and so much fun to read. So yeah, if you really want a good feel good but with some gothic vibes in your historical romance, check this one out. I also do want to recommend the second book in the series, which I loved. This was Say Yes to the Marquess, again by Tessa Dare. This is the second book in this series, and in this one we have our heroine who has been engaged to this guy for a very long time, maybe like 10 years I believe, and she's just feeling like this wedding's never gonna happen, and especially like he just doesn't want to marry her because he's been overseas and he just has really not shown much emotion or feelings or interest in her, and she's just fed up. She's like, listen, I have other plans. Let me just go do me. That's what I want. So she goes to his brother for basically to get out of her contract or engagement. And he's like, no, you're getting married and I'm going to plan this wedding for you. And it's like a romance between the 2 of them, so it's Beyonce's brother. Now they've known each other most of their lives. Our heroine is plus size, which I really enjoyed some plus size rep too. Unfortunately, the cover does not show that, which I think is just kind of sad. It's a beautiful cover otherwise. I definitely think that they should have picked a plus size model for the cover. Anyway. So yeah, there's plus size rep. In my opinion, there is ADHD rep in this too. I don't know if it's been explicitly said, but I would say like ADHD rep. And there is also just the classic Tessa Dare humor and banter, and these guys have a history. It's a little bit friends to lovers, you could say too, because they have known each other for so long. And our hero is also like a fighter trying to basically get his title back. So there's just a lot of really fun tropes going on in this one. I really, really am looking forward to book 2 and 3 in this series. I was gifted the 3rd book for my birthday, and so yeah, I need to get to that one, and I think there's 4 books in the series total. Next, we're going to talk about some Lisa Kleypas. So the first book I'm going to discuss is, again, The Magic. This is the prequel to the Wallflower series, and this is a second chance romance between our heroine, who grew up in the nobility, and she fell in love with a boy that worked on her family's land. So he's not a member of the nobility. Their love is completely like forbidden. It just is not going to happen. But they are in love, and it starts as a friendship when they're children and then blooms into love once they are a little bit older and teenagers. And I guess one day they are caught and he goes away. He's sent away. He comes back many years later, and she is not with anyone, and he kind of is seeking revenge for what happened, and he's just never gotten over her, and she's never gotten over him, and there is just this crazy amount of mutual pining. He has made a name for himself. I don't think that's a spoiler. You learn that very early on. He has made a name for himself. He's very rich now, and he has really made himself a career and a life and someone who is worthy of her. But there's so much confusion and resentment, anger, love, pining, like so many emotions between these characters. This is my favorite historical romance of all time. I mean, these are my top 10, so I love all of these, but I have to say this is probably my favorite historical romance of all time. It's so freaking good. Yeah, I'm obsessed. If you're gonna pick up a Lisa Kleypas, please pick this one up. And I don't even think I usually like second chance romances. And next we have Secrets of the Summer Night by Lisa Kleypas. This is the first book in the Wallflower series, so the book to read after this one. Technically, I actually read this one first and then read this one. I gave, again, The Magic 6 stars, and then I gave Secrets of the Summer Night 5 stars. Anyway, so Secrets of the Summer Night is a hate to love romance with a rake and a wallflower. In this series, these 4 friends are all wallflowers, and they make a pact to help each other get married. And this is Annabelle's story, and she really is not a fan of Simon Hunt. He is a rake and has not the best reputation. This is also a class difference, and he is very well off, a businessman, but he is not of the ton. So there's a class difference situation there, but her family is also in need of money. They're kind of destitute. So she really wants to help her mother out, but she just does not like this dude, and she's trying to basically find someone to marry that is worthy and that is well off and a member of the ton, and he's just always in her way and always there, and she's just not having it. He's obsessed with her. Like, he definitely falls first and decides like he doesn't care if he didn't want to get married. He might just want to now. So this is a really fun romance, and once again, the banter was 100% awesome, and I just loved it. I adored it. I love the class difference. I think that Lisa Kleypas, I've only read these 2 books, but they're both class difference, and I think she does class difference really well. So definitely recommend. Okay, so next here I have 2 books in a series again, and that would be Maya Banks's In Bed with a Highlander. This is the first book in the series. This is a Highlander romance, and definitely my favorite Highlander romance I've ever read. I really like this one. This is Ewan McCabe, and we have Marin, who she's the illegitimate daughter of the king, and so people are basically searching high and low to capture her and marry her against her will. And she ends up basically helping out I think it's like the nephew, maybe? The nephew or the ward or something like that of Ewan McCabe. And so the 2 of them like get into trouble or something when she's running from someone else, and they get captured together, and she's somehow basically brought back by this kid to Ewan McCabe's clan, and a romance ensues from there. This dude is like classic macho, like controls everything. He wants to be control of every situation. He's the head of the clan. He is just basically used to being the boss, and she is really not taking any crap. She wants to do things her way, and they definitely butt heads a lot. But the steam and the passion between these two characters is amazing. Maya Banks just really does a really good Highlander romance. Highly recommend. The second book in the series, I'll pop it up right here, is really good too. This is a caretaking situation. So our second brother, or one of the brothers, basically is on his way to get married to this woman, and on the way he gets hurt and is found by this healer, and she takes him in and heals him and takes care of him at her little like cabin or hut, like her tiny little house. And then Ewan McCabe and them come get him, and she comes back with them and continues to take care of him and nurse him back to health. And it's their romance. I think is probably the best caretaking I've seen, or some of the best caretaking I've seen. And yet again, another really good Highlander romance. I loved it. The spice is wonderful. I think Maya Banks writes really good spice. And yeah, I don't recommend the third book in the series though. I actually DNF'd it because I absolutely hated the hero in that one. I just felt like that brother was just not redeemable. He just kept on digging holes deeper and deeper and never coming out of them. And I think I DNF'd it at like 50 or 60% or something. I can't remember. But I was not a fan of that one. But the first two books in the series are 5 stars. Amazing. Continuing on with the Scottish theme, I have The Highwayman by Caretaking. I'm sure you've heard about that too, because this is a pretty popular one. This is more of a dark historical romance, or a historical romance noir. And this has some darker themes, so make sure you check your trigger warnings. This one is kind of hard to describe. Our heroine basically grows up at this like orphanage or something like that. Maybe it's like a foster home. And her and this boy develop a friendship, and they have like a little childhood wedding, like a cute little kid's like wedding, you know? And then he ends up saving her from a really bad situation. And they get split up, and later in life, she considers herself to be a widow, and she has this regular job, I think at like the courthouse or the sheriff's office or something like that. And a highwayman shows up one day and kidnaps her. And this is their romance. It's really good, really dark. We have a super, super damaged hero, lots of dark themes, and some really, really good everything. I really like this one. I also thought it was just really romantic and so like gut-wrenching at times too. Another fun one. It's not super Scottish feeling, though it is a Scottish romance, but it's not like super Scottish feeling like the like Maya Banks' series. The last historical romance, like non-fantasy, that I have here is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is the first book in the Bridgerton series. I've read the first 3 books in the series. This is still my favorite. This one follows Daphne and Simon. And yes, there is a controversial scene in here that, no, like, it's not okay. If you want to know, you can check the triggers. But I get that it's going to happen a lot in historical romance, but this is a really good one. And it's like, I think it's like brother's best friend. And then it's fake dating too. So they are fake dating, and then it becomes a marriage of convenience. So lots of really fun tropes in this one that I really like in historicals, and I thought it was really good. The banter is wonderful. I love the way Julia Quinn writes. I really, really enjoy Mrs. Whistledown's little snippets, like her little columns too. I think the audiobook narrator does a wonderful job for this series, and all in all, really fun. I did not like the third one that much. I think I gave it 3 stars, but maybe it was like a generous 3 stars, but it just wasn't it was kind of a letdown. And I wasn't a huge fan of Benedict, honestly, in that one. But this one, I think Simon's awesome. And I think Daphne's awesome. And I think they're just awesome together. And they're still my favorite couple. Okay, lastly, I have two fantasy romance type of historical romances. The first one is Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. This one's not like romantic in terms of like there being spice. There's no spice in this one, but it has a lovely, lovely romance in it. It's a historical setting in, is it Ireland? I believe it's Ireland, and it's a historical setting about Saoirse, and it's a retelling of the six swans, seven swans? Yeah, it's a retelling, and this one's really, really good. Saoirse's on a mission to save her brothers because her and them were all cursed by an evil sorceress, their evil stepmother, and it's just wonderful. The things that she has to go through are so hard. A lot of it's actually hard to read, so make sure you check the trigger warnings. But the romance is just really lovely and beautiful, and there are fantasy elements and fae in this. Finally, I have one that I think is actually really good for the upcoming season for fall, and that is S.T. Gibson's A Dowry of Blood, and this is a vampire romance. It is not conventional. It is poly. I think you could say poly. So there's sapphic romance, poly romance, and also just hetero romance going on in here. Lots of stuff going on. So this is about Dracula's brides, and it is really good. It's not long, but I really enjoyed this one, and it takes place over a very long period of time, starting like out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago and going through time up until I don't know when it ends. It might be modern day by the time it ends, or maybe close to modern day, but most of it is a historical setting. And then obviously it's like paranormal because it's about Dracula and Dracula's brides and their vampires. So this one's really cool. Dark, check trigger warnings because this one also has a lot of them. And this one is just beautifully written. This is epistolary, so it's written like letters, almost like a journal, but it's letters to Dracula. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's done very uniquely. The writing is really good. It's super gothic, and just it gives those gothic vibes. So I think this one's actually really good to read in the fall. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my 10 historical romance book recommendations, and I hope you enjoyed them. If you want more historical romance book recommendations, I'm going to leave a playlist down below because there's a whole bunch of other booktubers that have recommended historical romances for the Historical Romance Readathon, and I'm late for the collaboration, but I do want you to be able to check those out. I think most of them posted their videos a couple days ago, and things have just been kind of crazy around here. I just got back from vacation, so yeah. But anyway, I'll post that playlist down below so you can watch a bunch of other historical romance recommendation videos. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. Don't forget to click the like button, comment down below, and let me know what your favorite historical romance book is. All of my social media is listed down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, and the link to me and Maggie's Discord, The Hideaway. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
You never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.